homeschooling just may be some of the best schooling your child ever gets to experience. My name is Melissa Webb, and I'm a facilitator with Julian Charter School. I'm also a homeschool mom myself. So I have this video here for you to take a look at what homeschooling looks like from a few different perspectives, not just mine, but some of my families on my roster have shared some ideas as well. First thing to consider is your classroom setup. We use a extra room in our home that on the weekend may be a guest room, and in the evening maybe where somebody wants to come and watch a show of their own. But during the day, it is our classroom. And of course, a classroom must have some of the essentials, such as a desk or a table for your child, various supplies right there at hand's reach. A whiteboard, I think, is extremely valuable for getting away from just paper and pencil or keeping information up. Just getting up out of the seat and getting to go over there and work on the whiteboard sometimes can mix things up just enough to keep it interesting. You might want to consider some classroom props like posters. Be sure to include artwork that you've made throughout the year. Keep yourself organized. Over here we have our paper tray, so whether Derek needs graph paper or line paper. Down here in the bottom right corner we have various bins that have activities for him. It's also where he puts his finished work before we organize it in his notebook. This is just another angle of our classroom. You can see I have a smaller whiteboard over here where Derek can recall his username and password if he needs it, give him some ideas on what he can do independently if I'm on the phone with another family or he finishes something early. Keeping a calendar, great idea for those upcoming field trips. Again, posters can sometimes come in handy if there's ones that you like. And staying organized, another very big and important component. Here's another family's home. I love this. Look at these great maps over here. Look at this large working area. Over here on this wall, you can't see it, but she has an amazing wall of wonder. It's great art that her son has completed throughout the year. Here's another angle, more from the organizational piece over here. Take a look at these bins and these binders. It's really important to be the most efficient teacher. You really need to take the time now and get yourself organized so that everything else runs smoothly. Speaking of organizing, one of the things every homeschool mom needs to do is organize the lesson planning. I say mom, it could be a dad, of course. This is what the method I still use. It's old school, but it's just a lesson plan book. You can get them at Lakeshore. I think even Target and Walmart carry them. But here we have up here just days of the week, right? And then every Sunday I sit down and I lay out what we're going to be doing for the week. And this way it's easy for Derek to understand. If for some reason I needed him to go there, it keeps me organized so that our time runs smoothly. Just a close-up of the same day, just to show you one of the ways that you can keep grades is just to write them in your lesson plan book. The lesson plan book comes in handy for grade keeping. It comes in handy when you're filling out your learning log at the end of the week. What all did you do that week? You can easily just go right back to these pages, see what you need, fill it on in. Moving on. Student organization, another key component. As you can see here, Derek has created a cover for his binder, and over here, hopefully you can see the different tabs. A different tab for each subject matter. We've got language arts, math, science, social studies, PE, and VAPA. And here we have it open to one page in particular, just to show you that you don't have to grade every single paper that goes through your hand. Sometimes a star or a check mark. Just let your facilitator know we've looked at this and we've corrected anything that needed to be corrected. The important thing that you want to keep your percentage grades would include all unit tests or end of the chapter tests. Again, keep those in your lesson plan book and you can average them at the end of the month and give those scores to your facilitator. A fun part of homeschooling is getting some extra money to spend at JCS. You are allotted 625 educational units per semester to get things that you need to give your child the best education possible. It can include educational materials such as this phonics program. Could be ordered off of Lakeshore, Barnes & Noble, Rainbow Resource. When you order things like this, it'll go right to our resource center. They'll label it with a barcode and contact you. You get to be the first person to check it out. When you're done with it, you're helping to stock the resource center for other families in the future. If you choose to use your funds for vendors such as swimming and tennis and guitar playing and ceramics class and Friday class, those are other great options as well, and you get the ability to choose what fits your family the best. This is a kit that was bought, I believe, through Barnes & Noble. Here we have Mason actually making a pot holder. Look at that happy boy. So again, determine what your lessons are calling for and go out there and see what you can find and create. A really important thing is to get out of the textbook. As an adult, I would be so bored to sit at a table all day long and read a textbook and answer questions and be done. So I can only imagine how dreadful that experience would be for a child. So textbooks are important, as well are other resources, whether you use the web or go to the library. Collect all kinds of information to gather data, but then really talk about it beyond the textbook. This is an example where we were learning about the solar system until Derek came up with a great driving question, which was, "Hey, Mom, are there any other planets we could live on?" To which, any well-educated teacher would respond, "I really don't know, honey. Why don't we research that?" And that's exactly what we did. And so you can see here he completed a project and talked about what the living conditions would be on all of these different planets of ours. And again, getting out of the textbook kind of learning. Here's a wonderful example. I had a couple of families this year do some really creative things learning about our 50 states. Here you can see they've been learning about the state of Georgia. And here I think it even says Atlanta right there. He cut out all of the different letters. You can see some of the different things if you went to Georgia. Again, I think it's even cut out as the shape of Georgia. So get creative, have fun. It's certainly a lot better than just reading a book and finding out what Georgia's state flower might be. Kitchen science, again, reading in a textbook is going to bore most people. The textbook is merely a catalyst for real learning. That is what Common Core truly is about. Yes, a textbook has importance, but if all we're doing is reading and then moving on to the next chapter, we're missing the real learning experience. So, read about whatever project you're doing. Go into your kitchen, pull out your supplies, and do some hands-on activities. Here we have an example. It's kind of cute. They did a unit here on animal cells, and then they came into the kitchen, and out of candy and Jell-O, they created a very large animal cell. This is one that we had done where we took a solid, which was ice cream, and a liquid, which happened to be root beer, added those together to create. And here we have a gas that has been created and also a product consisting of a delicious root beer float. Cooperative learning, known as co-ops, another fantastic piece of homeschooling. We must get rid of the stigma that homeschool children are isolated and antisocial. So not true. Homeschool families, the ones I know, are more social than most neighborhood classroom students by far. This is an example. We've got a couple girls here who did several units that incorporated the American girls. There's a whole history piece. They're the Native American girls. Again, the parents, the moms got together, they did the lesson planning, and let me tell you, this is one day that the girls looked forward to every time they met. Another co-op idea, we've got a larger science class going on here. Here we're creating atoms. Here we've got like a little home ec elective going on. Again, notice always in the kitchen. That kitchen comes in handy. Art projects as co-ops works really well. Here's another science activity. Here we're taking VAPA, which is Visual and Performing Arts, one of your electives, and connecting a core subject, such as science in this case, with art. Really smart way to do your VAPA, whether you connect it with social studies, do some art history. In this example, it was connected to science. They had done a unit on volcanoes, and then afterwards, out of clay, Tristan created the volcano, painted the volcano, labeled the volcano, so you can see the connection between reinforcing concepts that were learned in the book, but then doing the hands-on activity that makes it now also a VAPA project. Here's another VAPA project. They had worked with arachnids, and then out of a paper plate and some other materials created a spider and its web. Pinterest, a wonderful, wonderful resource. Be sure that you're going on and looking up homeschool ideas for every unit that we did at home. I looked up a corresponding activity because sometimes your science book isn't going to have it. So again, you've got to reach out to other resources. And I will tell you, it's more important to actually do the activity than to just pin the activity. So pin it, but then use it. Don't pin so many that you're overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start. Just pick one that looks manageable and go with that. And if it flops, oh well, that's part of learning too. Field trips are a great part of Julian Charter School, so don't hesitate to sign up for those. They're free to your children, 3 per semester. Parents are given a really reasonable or reduced rate as well. Do not be alarmed if there's a waiting list. Just get your name on that list. Often people have to cancel for one reason or the other. So often, even if you're on the waiting list, you'll still get to go. But field trips do not have to be managed by the school. Again, fun learning happens outside of the textbook and sometimes outside of the house. So whether you're going digging in your backyard and looking up, here we've got baby frogs, or getting some friends together, going out to the Santa Rosa Plateau. Here we've got the vernal pool. You can see they've got their science books out here and they're taking notes on what they're seeing and what they're learning. Again, it can be local. You can even travel across the oceans if that's an option for you. What fun learning to be able to just pack up what you need and go. A lot of learning, like I said, doesn't happen in a structured, organized manner. It's from living life and experiencing life together. There's a great one.
Our universe is very complex. But is our solar system? Actually, it is. It's made up of the sun and many other objects that orbit it. Some of the coolest objects include asteroids, planets, moons, comets, and meteoroids.
Good job, Derek. This was one example of technology that we use. That was called Puppet EDU. It's a great resource to be able to write and create an essay in a updated sort of way. Here's another fun app called My Incredible Body, and as you can see, it's 3D. It's very updated. You don't have to use old resources. There's so many new resources. It's important to share ideas with one another. You find something great, get it out there. Let people know about it. Brain Pop happens to be one of our vendors, and that's a fantastic piece of technology. It's $100 a year, but guess what? Your educational units can cover that, and you can get that for free. Lastly, I just want to end on how important the piece of pursuing a passion is for our homeschool family. This is actually a blog spot that was created by a middle school student in his spare time. With homeschooling, you can get your academics covered and still have time to really pursue the things that excite your child. So, get excited about a new year. Get excited about the idea of homeschooling. I hope that this has certainly empowered you to realize that the sky is truly the limit.